now at 6, days of heat and dangerous levels of wildfire smoke.
It impacts everybody's health.
When we can finally expect some relief. Plus,
the phenomenon acts very similar to how a dust devil forms.
The giant spiral of smoke and flames caught on camera towering over eastern Oregon. And
I think it's wise, better safe than sorry.
A Portland park closed off over uncertainty and fears a historic building gutted by fire could collapse.
Then, how Portlanders made their case for and against spending millions in public dollars to modernize Moda.
Many of your constituents see this vote as an unfair trade-off of good vibes for bad budget.
I know it's not perfect. Don't let perfect get in the way.
Good evening. And first at 6, the very obvious and very unwelcome layer of smoke, toxic soup, still hanging over the Portland Metro and beyond. Thanks for being with us. I'm David Molko.
And I'm Christine Pitawanich. You're looking live at Skycams from Chehalem, the Dalles, and Vancouver. As you can see, all pretty smoky, but there is some relief in sight.
Thank goodness for that. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Matt Zaffino tracking that for us. Matt.
It'll be a gradual process, but by this time tomorrow, our air quality should be somewhat improved, and by Friday morning it should be significantly better than what it is right now. There's Salem right now. You can see the Capitol, but nothing beyond it. 89 degrees, humidity is low, small consolation considering how terrible the air quality is. Now here's some good news for you. This is Timberline, and this is live, and look at the clear sky there. And this is less smoky than it was just a couple of hours ago. It has really cleared off as the westerly winds have kicked on in, pushing the smoke away from the mountain, away from Timberline and farther east. This is our other camera at Timberline. And again, looking to the southeast, you can kind of see above the smoke here, but this is clearer than it was just a couple hours ago. So we are seeing improvement as the smoke from the Grasshopper fire, which is right there, is now getting pushed from west to east. The fire has not, by the way, breached Highway 35. There have been some reports on social media that that was the case. That is not the case. That has not crossed west of Highway 35. Now, see the smoke in the valley. While we're not getting new smoke, we need to get rid of the old smoke, and for that we need an increase in the westerly winds. That'll begin to pick up tomorrow. In the meantime, the air quality alert continues for all these counties around the metro area, a good chunk of Oregon and Washington, all of Wyoming, and more than half of Colorado. In the meantime, we've got the heat advisory continuing too for temperatures around 90 degrees. So the weather impact alert continues through tomorrow. Unhealthy air quality. If you need to wear a mask, if you suffer from respiratory issues, that's a great idea. Try to keep the windows closed in your house until we get into Friday, when the air quality will be greatly improved. Guys?
Yeah, eagerly waiting for this smoke to get out of here. Thank you, Matt.
The bandanas, wet or dry, or dust masks, or those blue surgical masks are not effective in protecting against those very fine particulate matter, fine particles that I mentioned earlier.
Good to know. Now, if you have to be outside in the wildfire smoke, health officials say an N95 respirator is your best option. They're designed to filter out most of the tiny particles found in smoke, but only when they fit properly and are worn correctly. Experts say the best protection is still limiting your time outdoors, especially when we're talking about children, older adults, and people with underlying health conditions. And with the air quality this bad in the valley and elsewhere, you can imagine just how much worse it's been closer to the fires.
Those communities going through so much, right? One example, Mount Hood Kiwanis Camp in the Hood National Forest that is temporarily closed. These images show conditions earlier. The camp works with kids and adults with special needs. It tells us it's now worried about the financial impact of refunding some $90,000 to campers.
Yeah, it is a huge hit for an organization like ours. We operate year round, but summer camp is only 8 weeks. So the revenue that we get from summer camp sort of sustains the organization through the rest of the year.
Director hoping they'll be able to hold camp next week as long as that smoke clears out.
And the fire responsible for closing that camp is the Grasshopper fire. It has put more than 6,000 people under evacuation notices and burned more than 39,000 acres. What you're seeing right now is on-the-ground video from fire crews working to stop the fire, sitting at 20% containment today.
Well, the fire colored in red here continues to creep toward Highway 35 and, of course, 26, prompting officials to close some roads and trails, though those highways remain open, at least in that area. In total, over 11,000 fire crews are working across the state. 11,000. Well, it's already a record-breaking season. 2 million acres burned. That's about 22 Portlands. put together.
That's huge. And with the need for help so great right now across our area, we have activated the Northwest Response Fund with donations going directly to the Red Cross and to people in Eastern Washington and across Oregon. You can donate by scanning the QR code with your smartphone. It's on the screen. You can also visit U.S. bank branches in Washington and Oregon to make a donation in person. Or if those options don't work for you, you can go to kgw.com to find the link to donate.
Well, here we go to the future of Moda now, and a look at Oregon's aging arena after people made their voices heard about the city's opening offer to use public dollars with some guardrails to upgrade Moda and to keep the Blazers in the Rose City.
And we are talking about hours of testimony here with many Portlanders expressing passionate opinions. Our Evan Watson is here now with more on what happened and what comes next. Evan.
Sure, it is clear this is no easy decision, right? And plenty of people have very strong opinions. Today, plenty of community leaders and Blazers fans argued for the city to approve a Moda deal and pay for upgrades, but then others believe the city has more pressing needs and they don't want to subsidize the team's wealthy owners.
Relocating the Blazers would mean more than losing just a basketball team, but a part of our city's identity.
Portlanders share an anxiety over the Blazers' future. Some are worried about the chance the team's new owners could try and move the franchise without a public funding deal. Others concerned a major Moda Center investment comes at the expense of other public needs.
Many of your constituents see this vote as an unfair trade-off of good vibes for bad budget.
Citizens testified for hours on Wednesday in front of Portland council members.
Focus on negotiating a financially responsible agreement that protects taxpayers, modernizes the arena, and demonstrates to the NBA and the world that Portland is serious about keeping the Trailblazers for generations to come.
Some speakers frustrated by the Blazers' lack of public information about the arena project.
We're negotiating in the dark.
Representatives from many unions asked council members to pay for an arena upgrade. A Moda Center janitor testified.
Todos necesitamos la misma atención que cualquier trabajador. Muchas gracias.
That is why we ask you to keep fighting to establish good jobs for everyone at Moda Center and to support this term sheet.
Arena renovations would serve more than the Blazers, opening the door to new concerts and events, and Portland Fire President Claire Hamill says her team needs the support.
Dressing rooms, training and medical facilities, player amenities were not built to support a second growing franchise, let alone a women's team.
Taxpayers repeatedly criticized owner Tom Dundon and his unwillingness to pay for part of an arena renovation.
Pledging hundreds of millions of dollars at the behest of a billionaire who has basically given our city the middle finger since he realized it existed without a clear plan of where that money is going is criminal.
The wide-ranging comments were largely civil and respectful.
I think, frankly, you're doing a very admirable job. Please keep doing that. Keep taking the high road, no matter what. Stay optimistic, stay positive. And I hope you vote for this next week. I really do. I know it's not perfect, but don't let perfect get in the way.
Portland Mayor Keith Wilson says the 12 council members should pass a non-binding term sheet with full public funding next week to kickstart formal negotiations.
We have a term sheet that really is 90% along the way where we need to be. It's time for the council to weigh in and call the question. Are we ready to move on to a comprehensive lease agreement, or are we not?
All right, Evan, we heard it there. There is perfect and there's maybe good enough. I'm curious to know, do council members want changes to the opening offer there?
Well, a few do. They introduced amendments today to this initial term sheet. For example, looking for a higher increase in ticket fees and the fee that they get back from the Blazers, and also property tax offset payments. Basically looking to make this stronger for the city and to get more money back in the offer that they could pass next week. We'll see if those pass in the city discussion moving forward.
Yeah, good to know. And also, Evan, what is coming next? I know you mentioned next week's vote, but what's coming next?
Right, and before we get there, tomorrow, Multnomah County commissioners are talking about their portion of this funding, saying, will they approve that $88 million or more? And then Portland will respond to that in kind tomorrow afternoon. So there are dominoes still to fall.
All right, we need the state, the county, and the city all come together by August 12th for that term sheet deadline, right? Thanks, Evan. I appreciate it. You know, we continue to track the future of Moda and the Blazers, and we want to hear from you. As we said, lots of opinions there today. We bet you have one too. You can text questions to the number on your screen. It's 503-226-5088. We will do our best to find answers and clarity.
And your headlines, 32 years after an 85-year-old Gaston woman was killed in her home and a suspect is now behind bars. Washington County investigators arrested 66-year-old Randall Joseph Gall yesterday after a grand jury indicted him on a charge of second-degree murder in the death of Vida Hardebeck. Investigators say Gall lived on a neighboring property when Hardebeck was killed in 1994. The case remained unsolved for more than 30 years, that is, until the district attorney's cold case unit used advanced DNA testing to re-examine evidence. We spoke to Hardebeck's daughter after the case was reopened last year.
Really startled me because, to me, that was in the past. I was beyond that. Now they brought it all up again, and everything's kind of coming to light.
Yeah, Gall is being held without bail in the Washington County Jail.
In Staten, a former vice principal has been found not guilty of sex abuse charges. A Marion County judge acquitted Christopher Siebert today after a 2-day bench trial. Siebert was arrested last year after a student under 14 accused him of sex abuse while he worked at Regis St. Mary Catholic School. He faced 5 counts, including first-degree sex abuse. The judge found him not guilty on all counts.
And results in Washington's top 2 primary show Democratic incumbent Marie Gluesenkamp Perez facing off against Republican State Senator John Braun in November. The Associated Press called the race shortly after the first results were posted last night. Both Gluesenkamp Perez and Braun got about 39% of the vote or so. Looks like the updated full screen there, 37.7% for Gluesenkamp Perez. Now, the challenge of this historically purple district really appealing to both sides. The final decision will, of course, be in the hands of voters on Election Day. That'll be November 3rd.
New at 6, life in prison with the possibility of parole after 25 years. That is the sentence handed down to the man who shot and killed a passenger on a Trimet bus in 2021.
And this evening, we're showing you newly released video from that deadly confrontation. And a quick warning, some of the images may be disturbing. Investigative reporter Kyle Boshi obtained that video along with the suspect's confession to police. Kyle.
Late this afternoon, a Multnomah County judge sentenced Wayne Thompson. He was found guilty of murder in the second degree. The victim's mother was in the courtroom for the sentencing hearing. She declined to comment on camera, but expressed relief.
The defendant, Wayne Thompson. The sentence, life with the possibility of parole after 25 years for shooting and killing 44-year-old Adrian Richardson. Video obtained by KGW shows the deadly encounter on a Trimet bus. It was August 8, 2021, when the victim, Adrian Richardson, boarded the bus on Southeast Hawthorne Boulevard. According to police, the 44-year-old victim was harassing a female passenger when the suspect, Wayne Thompson, got on the bus. Less than a minute later, the bus stopped, and the driver told Richardson to get off. Thompson also yelled at Richardson, then stood up, pulled a pistol out of his pocket, and shot the victim. We've frozen the video because it's too graphic. Prosecutors say Thompson shot Richardson 5 times. He was arrested 3 weeks later. Thompson, who had shaved his beard since the bus video, confessed to the deadly shooting, claiming it was self-defense.
I have no idea who this guy was, what he was up to, or what his background was, or what he was on. I didn't know any of that. All I knew is that this guy was having a spaz attack on a bunch of ladies on the bus. So I asked him to leave the bus, and then he decided to have a spaz attack and come and try and attack me, and I finished him.
In June, a jury convicted Thompson of murder in the second degree with a firearm. A judge also found him guilty of being a felon in possession of a firearm.
During today's sentencing hearing, the defendant complained about his lawyers, doctors, and the legal process. His defense plans to appeal.
Those are some stark images we just saw. Kyle Boshi reporting. Thank you, Kyle.